Good morning, everyone. I'm Harshu Ghate, founder, director of Seva Tarang Foundation. I welcome each one of you to this inaugural session of series of workshops on project lifecycle with at nonprofits. Let me first give you a brief introduction to Seva Tarang before we start on the Precursor. We are a Section 8 company headquartered in Pune. Our main objective is to strengthen the social sector organizations by helping them sustain longer and making their back-end processes more robust and compliant. We believe that as the social sector is growing fast and more funds are being made available and getting infused from different sources, the sector is also expanding in terms of the breadth of the social issues that are being addressed, as well as the scale and size of operations of the organizations. At the same time, we believe that the government, while encouraging all this, is also looking at bringing in more accountability, transparency, and impact reporting than it was doing before. In this background, the questions we asked ourselves are organizations like you geared up to live up to these expectations from different stakeholders? Do they have systems and processes to enable better financial controls? And whether they are responsive enough in terms of reporting to the stakeholders? Do they have policies and processes to employ and retain good talent? Are they doing enough to improve their visibility, digital visibility, to demonstrate their work to donors and beneficiaries? And we found that the answers to most of these questions are in the negative, and that's where we see an opportunity to bridge this gap and bring in our expertise in this area to help organizations like you to face these challenges and to facilitate your growth. So that's the background of what we are. Coming to the services that we offer, we engage with organizations like you at three levels. One is at the operational level, where we actually get engaged in transactions, in actually doing the work on your behalf. We become like an extended arm of your organization, and three processes or three functions we are looking at currently is finance and compliance, HR, and digital presence. So in these three areas, we actually take over the work that is to be done at your end, and we process it remotely from our operations, from our center in Pune. At the tactical level, we believe that there is enough need for organizations working in different geographies or at different scale to collaborate with each other and partner with each other to leverage the strengths that you have. It is important, we believe, that to organizations to leverage on their experience and their learnings so that other organizations can also benefit, and both organizations can grow in terms of their impact. We believe we can play a role there. It is also seen that with the new sources of funds getting available, it is important to gear up or create the readiness among the organizations to be ready to raise funds from different sources, and also in the area of impact measurement. On the strategic side, we believe that organizations which have already proved their model or their way of working need to scale to take it to pan-India levels. And we believe we can help in helping organizations scale in terms of their ability to raise more funds, their ability to scale their operations in terms of their bandwidth, team size, leadership capabilities, and so on. And we are also looking at helping organizations in the area of succession planning, especially those organizations where the way forward is not sure if the founders were to exit. So this is about us, about our offerings. As an integral part of our main objective, we are also looking at creating a community, calling it a Seva Tarang community, basically to facilitate and encourage communication and dialogue between the organizations and between the employees of the organizations. So we are looking at two forums as a part of this community, Tarang Samvad and Tarang Shiksha. So at Tarang Samvad, we are looking at enabling organizations to come together on some forum, and we will facilitate that forum where ideas and views on contemporary issues or upcoming trends, etc., those can be discussed. And through this platform, we will facilitate this interaction. Through Tarang Shiksha, we plan to come up with formal trainings for employees. It could be in the nature of some soft skills or some technology-related issues, and we believe that the organizations could benefit through such initiatives. We would just be a facilitator for this community, and we would encourage more and more participation from organizations. And I'm very glad that as a participant of this workshop, you have agreed to be a member of this community. I can assure you that we will give in all our sincere efforts to make this initiative successful, and we can fulfill your expectations of making a forum available for discussing relevant issues. So welcome aboard Seva Tarang community. You will hear more about us going forward and in the days to come as we bring in more such programs and workshops. We also welcome if you have any suggestions on how we should structure this forum, or what issues you want us to cover. It will not just be a one-way communication where it could be just presentations and lectures. I mean, we would also be bringing in a lot of interactive sessions with experts in the field or experienced social entrepreneurs who can share their thoughts and ideas. So do write to us at info@sevatarang.org with your thoughts and suggestions. Let me now come to this first session of the series of webinars that we are planning. So this is on the project lifecycle at nonprofits. And the objective here is to take you through the entire life cycle of a project that all of you are undertaking on a day-to-day basis. So as we all know, a project is like a lifeline for all of us NGOs. We survive and grow by designing and managing, executing projects to achieve our desired impact. But in spite of this criticality, we feel that many of us need more clarity in terms of understanding the nuances or the nitty-gritty of what it involves to implement a project. And we believe that we can bring in those finer aspects. We can highlight them. You can benefit from whatever you feel you have not been able to do, and you can also contribute in terms of the best practices that you have already been following. So this is the objective of this series, and what we intend to do is this will be a 5-part series of sessions we are looking at, and the topics that we will be covering are project design, preparing the pitch document or the proposal, the fundraising exercise, what is involves in execution or project management, and finally the impact measurement or the measurement and evaluation. So these are the 5 topics we are looking at, and as I explain you more about what we are going to cover in these topics in each of these sessions, I'll also tell you as to what kind of industry expertise or external experts we are also involving in this. So I believe it would be a very interactive session. Coming to the first aspect of project design, what we'll be discussing here is all the necessary ingredients to define and design a project. Now, project definition, which is a first step, requires us to define what is the end goal, that is the impact. Only when we know what we want to achieve can we define what and how we want to do it. So there are approaches and methodologies for defining the project, and we will introduce you to them, to some of them in this first session. Development of your theory of change is very important, and this helps you to decide why, who, how, and what of your project. We will also take you through how does one arrive at a theory of change. The clearer you are about these aspects, the better are the chances of your project being successful. So this session will help you understand this approach. After finalizing the theory of change, one needs a structured approach for drilling down its elements, which is also called as a logical framework approach. And here you break your project activities into impact, outcomes, outputs, activities, and our session will briefly introduce you to this approach as well. This session will also take you through the project plan, the communication plan, the risk management, and other key success factors which influence the success of the project. So this would be a gist of what we are going to cover in the first session. Coming to the next session, which is on pitch document or proposal making. Every project that is conceptualized and designed needs to be packaged and documented for presentation to the prospective donors. So for someone who has conceptualized the project, it is difficult to present it in such a way that other stakeholders also approach it in the same way. And it's a very critical document, especially when you are going to ensure that the project is going to be funded adequately. Apart from just the project description, the pitch document also has to include several other aspects, and we will touch upon all of these in our session. So it's not only the content, but also its form and the medium through which it is communicated. We'll talk about this as well. The conviction with which a project is designed needs to be communicated equally effectively to the donors. So communication becomes very, very, very critical. Presenting it as a story is one of the effective communication that has been tried out, and we can have a look at it as to how this can be done. A good pitch document also predicts likely questions of the donors and addresses them as far as possible, so that you can preempt those questions and give the answers. We'll talk about this as well. As we go in the session, you'll not only go through these aspects, but also provide some tips on how to draft an effective pitch document. So this is what we can look forward in the second session. Coming to the third session on fundraising, as we all know, fundraising is the most critical aspect of the project management, and we are almost entirely dependent on fresh funds for executing every project. Unlike a corporate, we do not have the luxury of creating a reserve or a corpus which can fund the initial stages of the project till the funds come in. So funds need to be raised or commitments obtained for the entire project execution timeline before we commit our resources for the same. So fundraising process starts right from identifying alternative sources and options within those sources. So if the project is going to be, say, executed over 3 years, it is important to tie up the funds for the entire period of 3 years. And if the project is likely to have high indirect costs, which are not likely to be funded through a typical CSR route, some unrestricted funds also will need to be sourced and identified and tied up. Similarly, if the project involves significant capital expenditure, donors who fund such expenses will also have to be identified and approached. From a donor reporting perspective, it is ideal to have a single donor for a project, but for reasons mentioned above, it may not be always possible. So we will also have to look at different donors and different types of donors depending on the need for funds. As I said earlier, the total funding into the social sector has already reached a significant scale, and the flow is only going to increase in future. It is likely that the government will look at this sector from a stricter monitoring and reporting of funds utilization. While this is happening, we also see several new avenues such as social stock exchange, which are now made available and are being encouraged by the government to ensure adequate governance and transparency. So it is important for all of us to recognize that while going forward, funds will come with more strings attached and more expectations, the higher reporting, more transparency. More funds would certainly be available for those who fall in line and those who are proactive in being more accountable and result-oriented. As you must have noticed by now, fundraising is going to be a very dynamic function. So apart from knowing the theory around it, we thought that it would be helpful if we can hear the experiences and fundraising strategies from someone who has been there, done that. And with that in mind, for this session, we will discuss with another NGO which has been successfully raising funds for several years from different sources and has achieved impressive growth and scale. As we go along, we will soon be sharing more details of the speaker, but this is going to be a session where we would know it from the horse's mouth in terms of what is, how they have done it and what has worked for them, what has not worked for them. So I believe this will be a good practical input to all of us. Coming to the next session on project management, after the funds are raised or tied up, there is a fair certainty of the project getting executed. This is where the rubber hits the road. So whatever is planned on paper now is going to face reality. Now, whether it is mobilizing human resources, putting the team together, procuring the project material, or engaging with beneficiaries, all assumptions that we made while designing a project actually get a reality check here. And project management in that sense is very crucial for timely completion and to ensure the desired impact is achieved and within the budgeted costs. how can NGOs manage all these aspects during project execution phase is what we will cover in this session. I'm sure you'll find this very useful. Coming to the next session on the impact measurement, we believe that while one trend, and all of us must have experienced it, while the clear trend is that the government will want to see impact on the ground. While each one of us is doing our bit and making a difference, the sum of the impact, doesn't seem to be apparent to the government, which is looking at the bigger picture. So in our view, there could be three reasons for this. Firstly, it could be due to defects in the project design, that the impact may not have been clearly defined and hence not measured and reported. There is still confusion, as we see, in the minds of the donors as well as NGOs about what is outcome and what is output and what is impact. If output is reported as impact, it will obviously not show up at the macro level. Secondly, we feel that impact, whether it is direct or indirect, takes a few years to show up after the project is completed. And typically, as organizations, we do not keep track of it because donors do not fund us for it. So even though impact would have really happened, it is not measured because we are not tracking the impact after the project is completed. This could be the second reason why we believe impact is not seen or reported. Lastly, I feel the need itself of the impact is so huge that it will take twice, thrice, or even 10 times the funds and time which are currently spent to show some meaningful macro level impact. So this topic we believe is going to gain a lot of significance in the coming years, and it is imperative that we understand its implications and expectations so that we are not caught off guard. Here again, we believe that instead of talking theory on how impact is measured or the tools around it, etc., we thought that we can get some industry expertise on the practical inputs from professional practitioners who has worked with NGOs and looked at these areas and actually also got involved in measuring impact and reporting impact. Here again, we will soon be sharing the details of the professionals who we would be interacting with in this session. As you can see, this 5-part series is a comprehensive package that we will be providing you with high level view of all the aspects of the project management. Each of these topics certainly need a deep dive and call for longer interactions. These are not topics which can be discussed in detail in a 30-minute session. So we will certainly be available in case you need any help in drilling down this further or knowing more about approaches and methodologies. Before I conclude this session, a few points on how these sessions will be conducted. So each of the session would be for about 30-35 minutes, followed by a 10-15 minutes of question and answers. Please type in your questions in the chat box. We will try and answer as many as possible. In any case, every question will be answered offline. We will share the login details for every session at least 2 days in advance to each one of you. All the participants who have registered for this event need not register again for the subsequent sessions. And in case you want others to join in for subsequent sessions, they can register anytime on the link given below or on our website. Participation in these sessions is free. This is very important. We are offering it as our value-added service. So I welcome all of you to this series of workshops, and I hope that the takeaways for you from these sessions will be worth the time you will be spending attending them. As I said earlier, please share your feedback and topics you want us to address in the forthcoming events. Thank you so much.